Hello, and welcome back. Today I want to talk about the things that I want to see Aion 2 take from the original game and which things I would love it to just leave behind or do differently. I usually focus on the lore, and there is a lot that I want to see about it in Aion 2, but this time I want to focus on the gameplay itself. The first topic that I want to talk about are cell runs. This was in Aion forever, and basically became the normal way to run dungeons over the last 10 years. I do heavily dislike this, because this means you can simply buy your gear without ever completing the dungeons yourself. I want the people that complete the dungeon to get the loot, not sell it to the person with the most money. So I am in favor of personal loot, meaning every person gets its own loot that is basically not tradable or sellable to other players. Since selling loot wouldn't be possible anymore, they could also increase the drop rates in exchange for losing the option to sell it. That is a system that a lot of other MMORPGs have, and while it might not be the perfect solution, I think it is one of the best options. And here we get to the next topic: main character focus. I would love Aion 2 to focus on your main character and not on multiple side characters or twinks, like it was in Retail and like it is now in Aion Classic. Some of you might not know what I'm talking about, so let me explain it a bit more. In both Retail and Classic Aion, a lot of the big rewards and ways of making money are inside of weekly quests and cell runs, which encourages people to play multiple side characters instead of continuing to play their main, because with multiple side characters they can make much more progress or money than if they simply only play their main character. This has been the case in Aion forever. Like in 6.0, basically everyone had 2 or even 3 accounts full of max level characters to look for the skill books that could drop in the dungeons. And then you either took these skill books with your main character or you sold them to other players. That was a huge thing back then, and you also saw it with Tartarus and Talos dungeons in Aion Classic. I do like playing other classes, but I do not like making it so easy that everyone has everything on max level and is almost completely geared with every class. I think adding personal loot and maybe putting more rewards into the activities of the main character, like exploring the world and participating in events, would be better for the game than what we currently have in Aion Classic, where everyone does the daily and weekly quests with 5 different characters. And yeah, I know of some people that literally play actively on 3 different accounts because they simply make the most progress and money with doing only the simple weekly things on all of these characters. I would like that to change in Aion 2. You should feel rewarded and not punished for playing more on your main character. Let's get to the next point, which was already somewhat confirmed: exploration. In the first official Aion 2 livestream, they mentioned that Aion 2 will be 36 times as big as the first Aion game. Now, people might say size isn't everything, but I would somewhat disagree there. An endlessly expanding empty desert like in Starfield might not be appealing, but a huge forest with dungeons to explore and treasures to find does sound very appealing to me, especially in an MMORPG. Of course, this has to be well made, and while we do not know many more details about it yet, the testers from the FGT in Korea did highly praise the exploration aspect of the game. This exploration can be paired and enhanced with the next topic that I want to cover shortly: events in the open world. You might notice from Guild Wars 2, where suddenly a few hundred meters away from you an event pops up, where let's say a couple of bandits are attacking a small village. You can then go there and help the guards get rid of the bandits, and after the short event ended, you get a couple of rewards. This makes the world feel more alive and less static. And do not forget, Guild Wars 2 was made by ArenaNet, which is a subsidiary of NCSoft. So hopefully we get something similar in Aion 2. Let's get to a very controversial topic with Aion: PvP. I think PvP in Aion in the early days was very good. Nowadays the quality of PvP has been very diminished. I talked about this many times by now, but the current meta in PvP in Aion is simply surging. Meaning you build a group or even an alliance, and with this huge mass of players, you hunt down solo players or small groups of enemies. It doesn't matter if you play well or anything, because the amount of players in your alliance makes it impossible for the small groups or solo targets to do anything. This is why I do dislike this current meta in PvP, or in the open world of Aion Classic. It simply doesn't require skill, and in my opinion, that should matter in PvP. In the early days of Aion, this didn't matter that much, because even if you had a group that was looking for PvP and maybe was equipped to do so, the other faction had a lot of players roaming around the world doing quests and dungeons, which meant you as the player that wanted to do PvP were pretty much always at a disadvantage in terms of numbers. But that didn't make it unfair, because you not only had the surprise effect of an PvP encounter, but also the skill and obviously the gear you had gave you an advantage. This was the thrill of open world PvP, which due to multiple factors like a shrinking player base, over the years sadly boiled down to the current surging meta. The arena in Aion was okay, but it also had its own share of problems, like Templars which would only go into the arena with 8000 DP, which meant they had a 30-second invincibility against physical classes and a full heal on top of that. I do hope that they find a good solution for this in Aion 2, because PvP was always a big factor in Aion. And even if they said that they will focus more on PvE, it shouldn't mean that PvP gets completely neglected. Let's talk about the PvE now, or more precisely, the group versatility. This is also something that they did talk about in the first Aion 2 livestream. That group versatility will be more important than in the first Aion game, and I think this is great. Many times in Aion or Aion Classic, you simply didn't need a tank, and instead you simply take another damage dealer with you and let the sorcerer tank the boss. I do not like that. The same as in Aion Classic, you will soon see very weird groups with 3 or more Luminous classes, because damage is the only thing that matters in Aion Classic, and Luminous is great at dealing damage. I am very excited to see what they planned with the new dungeons and group content, because the group size is reduced from 6 to only 4 players. And as the last thing I want in Aion 2, I just have to say it. I want the Sumian Temple as a dungeon in Aion 2. What are your thoughts about all of this? Did I miss something? Do you agree or disagree with my opinions? Let me know in the comments. If you want to stay up to date with the news regarding Aion 2, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and you can also join the Aion 2 community Discord. They post all the new infos there. Alright, have a nice day and see you next time. Bye!